Welcome to Standing Room Only, the podcast that provides a safe space to fangirl and freak out about the things we love, from pop music to TV shows, musicals, books, and hobbies. This is a passionate place for passionate people, and passionate I am, especially this week after yesterday. The 12th of January was a busy week for us, wasn't it? I mean, if you ever were a fan of One Direction, and anybody who is a member of One Direction, which is Harry Styles, Louis Tomlinson, Liam Payne, Niall Horan, and Zayn Malik, just in case you didn't know, then yesterday it was a wild, wild day. Like, let's start with Louis Tomlinson, my king, my king, Louis Tomlinson. He has got a new album coming out this month on January the 23rd called How Did We Get Here? He has already released 2 singles, Lemonade, Palaces, both bops, love them both. And he's then going on tour on the 23rd of March. And yesterday he did an interview with Billboard, an amazing interview. I loved the interview. He talked about lots and lots of things. And the bit that I've seen clipped across all of social media, obviously, of course, this is a clip that they are showing to everyone because it's obviously going to get lots of engagement, is when he's talking about the band and talking about other members within it and kind of saying, like, you know, normally in a boy band, you have a couple of members that might succeed and the rest of them just kind of disappear. And he was saying that with One Direction, he never expected to be one of the people that kind of exploded, like, you know, but he talks about it in such a humble way, in a way that just shows how his experience in One Direction kind of obviously did give him a lot of confidence in a lot of ways, but also kind of maybe took some away. And we saw that in his documentary, when he was talking about Gotta Be You and talking about how he wanted to add some vocals into some songs. And, you know, we get this kind of feeling from Louis and from what he's told us that there are some self-confidence issues around that. But Louis Tomlinson is killing it. He is absolutely smashing it. And one thing he's done since One Direction went on their hiatus, I'm sorry for saying that word. One thing he has done is he has curated and built such an amazing fandom, such an incredible, positive group of fans. And I'm part of many fandoms. I dip my toes into lots of other fandoms too. Like I have my like top tier. Do you know what I mean? Like my fandoms that I'm like, I could tell you what happened on this date of this year because I was just there. Then I have some fandoms that I've done my research on, and I have some fandoms that I just kind of like, you know, I look over the fence every now and then when I want to. And Louis Tomlinson's fandom is just beautiful. It really is. And I think it's a really special thing for somebody to be able to build that and to have that and to come out of something as huge as One Direction, where the whole world knew your name, the whole world knows your name, and you come out of that and the path that you take, the path you go down is one of creating a fandom that is so supportive and will always have your back and will always engage and lock into everything you do. And that literally is what Louis fans are. So I love him, and I'm so excited for his new album. I really, really am. And I thought that would be kind of all we were getting in January, apart from obviously Zayn Malik, who is going to Las Vegas, Viva Las Vegas, to do a residency, which starts on the 20th of January. So that's really, really soon. So very soon we are going to have some videos. Our For You pages are going to be filled with Zayn again singing live in Las Vegas. And then it will be Louis Tomlinson's new album. But then yesterday, after all the chaos of everything else, which we will get to, Zayn Malik decided to just randomly drop on his birthday a tour announcement. And he has some countries. There are obviously some venues and dates there. They're completely redacted. And it's wild that he chose, no, it's not wild that he chose to do that. I just wasn't expecting it because obviously he did his tour and it was his first tour since leaving the band. And then he announced the Las Vegas residencies. And now he's doing another tour. And I just love this for him. I love that Zayn has got the momentum now within his own life, within his own career and his own stability to be like, yeah, I'm going to go and do loads of shows. I just love it. I think it's, this is so parasocial, and I will always have a parasocial relationship with these people. But like, it's just so good to see him doing well after what happened at the end of his time in One Direction. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean. And let's talk about another member of One Direction, Liam Payne, who has actually been nominated in the 2026 iHeartRadio Music Awards. The category is favorite on screen, and it's a socially voted category. So this is something that people can actually vote for. Not me, because I'm in the UK. But if you're, I think it might just be US, maybe Canada too. I don't know, but I'm blocked from that website. But he has been nominated for his appearance on Building the Band, along with AJ and Nicole Scherzinger and Kelly Rowland. I don't know if you saw Building a Band. I loved it. I loved that show. I put off watching it because I was like, I don't think I can emotionally handle this right now. And then I watched it and I just thought, I won't spoil anything, but there were a couple of bands that I loved. But season four had my entire heart and soul in the palm of their hands. I loved that band. I just, everything about them I loved. And there were some real standout bands in that, like Solidified, I can't remember what they ended up being called now, were incredible as well. Yeah, anyway, I loved the show. I loved Liam on the show. I loved Kelly Rowland on the show. I loved Nicole Scherzinger and AJ on the show. I just thought it was such a positive, lovely experience of watching a talent show kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? It was a really interesting format as well. But yeah, Liam Payne has been nominated for his appearance on that. Now, it's a really tough category because there are things like Wicked on that, right? But I just think we could all come together. Not me, because I can't vote. But maybe everyone could come together and try and get this win, right? Because it would be posthumous. It would mean a lot, wouldn't it, for like everyone, if he was kind of honored in a way for the last project that he like worked on, I suppose, the last television project he worked on. And then speaking of singing competitions, Niall won The Voice for the third time. I feel like he's always going to win. I feel like this is the thing, like everyone loves Niall so much. And obviously the artists are very talented too. Like, I'm not taking anything away from the singers that he works with on that show, but Niall is loved very much. So I feel like he has a good chance of winning every time he's on it. And he's also teased a new album this year. He's already told us new music's in the works. We've seen pictures from the studio. He's got us excited. But let's get to the big news. The big news, because after what feels like 87 years, Harry Styles started making some noise. It started in December. He dropped a YouTube video. It premiered. It was called We Belong Together. It was from the Italy show. It was a 10-minute piano solo. It was beautiful. It was stunning. We were all confused. What does it mean? What does it mean? None of us knew. And then yesterday, something crops up. And it's a website called We Belong Together. And you go on it and you click on the screen and it sends you to WhatsApp. And there's a pre-populated message in there that says We Belong Together. You hit send. There's a reply. It comes back, says, have a nice day. And it gives you a link to a form. No, hang on. The form came first, didn't it? Then you fill in the form with your details. And then it goes, have a nice day. And I filled in that form so quickly. And I honestly would have given over anything. They could have asked for, like my father's middle name, my mother's maiden name of my first pet, street that I grew up on. And I'd have put it all in there, just in the hopes that it was Harry Styles. And it wasn't until after I filled in the form, I was like, is that legit? Have I just given some random hackers? I felt like a boomer. I literally felt like a boomer, where they get a phone call and they're like, hello, can we have the 3 digits on the back of your credit card? I'm like, yes, 777. Like, that's what I felt like. I felt stupid. I felt like I was going to have to like call my mum and be like, Mum, guess what? Now it's my turn to be hacked. And Anyway, it wasn't the case. I went back onto the site. It had all the Sony stuff on it. It had all of their like pages. Then the HSHQ WhatsApp page was verified. It was all legit. And then billboards start popping up everywhere. We belong together. And they have things like, have a nice day. It's all waiting there. Let the light in. Here we go again. See you very soon. All of these things. And you're like, is it lyrics? What is this? Because we've been here before. We had the You Are Home doors. The doors that we opened every single day, and it showed a little portion of a random image, and none of us knew what the images were. Then we'd go on Twitter, and the You Are Home Twitter account would tweet out some random words, and we'd be like, what does this mean? None of it makes sense, and I still don't think it makes sense. Yeah, there were some lyrics on there. Yeah, there were some images that made sense in the end, but most of it didn't make sense. I still can't make sense of all of it. And I'm like, we've been here before. So yes, I'm thinking it's all waiting there. Have a nice day and let the light in. Here we go. No, I think have a nice day. It's all waiting there. Let the light in. I think they're all lyrics. I think here we go again and see you very soon. It's just him being like, hey girl, hey, coming back. It's been a while. I've cut my hair. I've shaved my beard. I look slay. I'm ready to slay on the stage again in my little waistcoats with my hitties out. That's what I think he's saying. Exactly in that tone as well, because that is how he talks. And, he's always done this kind of rollout. We had a Rhoda, which was like before Adore You in the music video. And we had just so many things that he's done that like teases before you really get into it. And I know people are like really concerned because like I've given my details away, but Harry Styles and HSHQ haven't confirmed anything yet. They just don't. They don't. And then eventually maybe Harry Styles or HSHQ will follow a social media account that is attached to that website, and then you kind of have this security of like, oh, okay, it is legit because he wouldn't follow a random account. And then you kind of have people involved. Anyway, it does get to the point where you're like, is this real? Is this legit? But, the One Direction fandom have always been good at hacking into things like security cameras and hospitals and hotel lobbies and, getting their blood types and date of times of birth and stuff like that. So they've always been very good at that. And those skills haven't faded over time as the band have gone their separate ways. The fans' skills remain the same. So Harry Styles is coming back, and there's a rumor, I think there was a blind item saying that he's going to have a new single on the 19th of January, or something's happening on the 19th of January. I think with As It Was, there was an announcement for a single on a Wednesday, and on the Friday it was there. It dropped. I remember being up at midnight with YouTube premiering it. I was on TikTok live. I went live with a friend, Hannah, who I did a podcast episode with. We kind of waited together. It was such it feels like so long ago, and also it feels like yesterday that we had new Harry Styles stuff, anything. Do you know what I mean? I know he's given us a couple of sex toys through Pleasing, but I don't want sex toys, Harry. I want you on stage. That sounded a bit wrong. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. And then the album, HS4, is it going to be called We Belong Together? Who knows? What I do know is that I have heard a lot, that early March, is when the album is going to be released. And obviously now there are rumors of like, I see rumors about like, oh, he's booked a residency at MSG. Now I'm not being funny. If I was like a news outlet or anything that kind of reported on this stuff, and I wanted clicks or wanted engagement yesterday, I would put a safe bet on an MSG residency. So I'd say the same too, because like, even if I hadn't have had it confirmed by anyone or mentioned by anyone, there's quite a solid bet at this point that Harry Styles is going to go to MSG for a while. He did it last time. We had Harry Ween there. Do you know what I mean? So I think take it all with a pinch of salt. But if he does do residencies rather than a tour, I just hope that I hope it's logistically sensible for fans. Do you know what I mean? Because like if he was to do like, I'm just going to do residencies in London and in New York, then it's like, okay, what about everyone else? Like, and he is so in demand. And like, this is the thing as well, like what my biggest fear, and yes, I'm not exaggerating, this is my biggest fear right now, okay? Everything at home is good. Everything with my family is good. We're all good. So my biggest fear genuinely right now is that Harry Styles turns around and says, Lady Gaga, one of the biggest artists in the world, did arenas. And Ariana Grande, one of the biggest artists in the world, did arenas. What if I just did arenas? I'm like, no, you need to Eras Tour level this up, okay? That's the scale we're aiming for, Harry. You need so many dates there that you're concerned about not filling them up, because you will fill it up. I don't want you to be like, oh, let's just do a couple of arenas and then like we'll sell out within a minute. No, I don't want that. I don't want that. And also, while we're at it, that WhatsApp form that I filled in, that form on your website that we all filled in, let that be pre-sale for tour, please. Please let that be pre-sale for tour. Like, we're here, we're locked in, we are the fans, we are the day ones, we are the OGs. Let us in. Because if I have to battle Ticketmaster with some rando who likes watermelon sugar and that is it, fine, they're allowed in the show, but they're allowed to buy their tickets after I've bought my tickets. Okay? Let me buy my tickets first and then let the other people worry about them later. Just let me in the door, okay? I honestly, that's my biggest fear. I love that, man. I love all of the One Direction boys so much. But since day one of 1D, right? Since like, I know they were on the X Factor. I kind of watched that season, like not too invested. But when they released Up All Night and they released these pop bangers, cheesy pop bangers, which we all love, and all the na-na-nas and all the singing about girls and all of that, I always loved Louis because he was my age. He is my age. And he's got loads of sisters and I've got loads of sisters. He's got a big family and I've got a big family. People accused him of being a bit effeminate and I've always been a bit effeminate and whatever that means. Do you know what I mean? Like hard relate to a lot of Louis Tomlinson, right? And then comes from a council estate. I came from a council estate. And then you've got Harry Styles, whose voice was just my favorite voice. And like, I think Zayn obviously has the most powerful, strongest, like the stuff he can do with his vocals is insane. That instrument is insane. If you could buy it, you would, wouldn't you? But like Harry Styles' voice, just one of my favorite voices of all time. I'm not even joking. And for that reason, HS1 is like in my top 5 albums of all time. I just love it because you hear his kind of raw, gravelly voice. Like you can hear the hair, as we say. When you say like you can hear the hair in these songs, that's the voice that I love, right? So Louis and Harry, like my top 2 in men, full stop. Louis and Harry are my top 2 men in the world, okay? Full stop. And I just love Harry Styles so much. I love the joy that he brings. I love how Love on Tour was just positivity. It was just joy. It was just dancing and singing in the rain and just, it was just, life was good. Life felt good. Those songs that he played on tour, like I hear Daydreaming Now. I hear Satellite. I hear Music for a Sushi Restaurant. And I'm just transported to a time where I was dancing in Wembley with loads and loads of thousands and thousands of people, 80,000 people dancing to the same tune. Like that's something to be celebrated. And that's what I'm excited for. So please, Harry, I want to say goodnight to you. And that's kind of like, it's a One Direction roundup, but there's a lot going on, isn't there? And it's exciting because, you know, it's been quiet and it's been dark and it's been really, really horrible and sad. There have been so many awful moments. And it still feels so fresh as well. The loss of Liam Payne, it feels so fresh still. It feels like unreal as well. It feels so unreal. I think even if you're close to somebody and you haven't seen them for a really long time, or if it's somebody that you don't actually know, but somebody who's impacted your life, when they die, it's kind of easy to pretend they haven't because you just don't see them. You're used to not seeing them. So it's a really strange thing because every now and then you get a little reminder of these bad things that have happened and it hits you and you're like, oh, I forgot. I could, not that I forgot, but I kind of forgot. Like, do you know what I mean? It's not like when someone you're really close to and you see all the time and they suddenly go and you think that impacts you every minute of your day because you're so used to seeing them. They're so intrinsic in your day-to-day life. Like it's such a different feeling of grief and loss. And I think every fan of One Direction, every fan of Liam Payne will feel that forever. And it will have, you know, it comes in waves, doesn't it? But when they're all active again, it really does kind of hit because you just think, what would Liam be doing? What could Liam be doing right now? And I just think he'd be flying with them all. I think they'd all be doing so much right now and it would just be like amazing. But alas, That's not something we can have. But we can celebrate him at the iHeart Music Radio Awards with his nomination for Building a Band. And I think we should try and do that. And yeah, and that was like my intro back into this podcast, because I just wanted to talk about all the things I love. And at the moment, they're the things that I love. But I can't not also talk about other new music, because Olivia Rodrigo has celebrated the 5th anniversary of Driver's License, and I'm so excited for OR3. Like, I feel like Olivia Rodrigo is like, I feel like she shouldn't, no, this is wrong, because I think you should enjoy anything you want to enjoy. I can't really relate a lot to her songs, right? Because we're just different stages of life, different generations. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like when I listen to Taylor Swift's early albums, like I can't really relate to a lot of that stuff, because that's old stuff that I've lived through that doesn't really impact me anymore, doesn't really affect me anymore. Whereas I listen to like Torture Poets Department, Folklore, and Evermore, and Midnights, I'm like, yes, this is it, right? Because we're the same age, similar age. She's a bit older than me, I know. She's got money, that's why she looks younger. And I with Olivia Rodrigo, I can't really relate to her music. However, I am very excited, because I do actually genuinely believe that Olivia Rodrigo is one of the next big superstars. I think she's one of the big pop superstars. She's going to be huge. She's going to dominate. She's going to be here for such a long time. She's got such a strong sense of identity in her lyrics, in her music, in everything, in the themes of her albums. She brands her albums so well as well. And I'm very excited for her 3rd album. I just think it's going to send shockwaves. I think she's going to really stamp her foot down and be like, yeah, you think I'm the next big thing? Here I am. I am the next big thing. Like, I'm so excited for it. Bruno Mars as well, reheating his nachos as he always does. I don't care. I love it. I listened to his new song. It's a bop. Had a little boogie. I'm looking forward to his new album. He always provides bangers and bops and boogies. And they stand the test of time. Like, I still sing along and dance along to his songs. And also he has some great power ballads, like Grenade, Just the Way You Are. Like, those songs still get played in my house. I love Bruno Mars. I really want to go and see him on tour. I'd love to see him on stage. Like, again, like, just such a timeless kind of act. I think he's going to be around forever. And Ariana Grande, I did not get tickets to the tour, which, don't even talk to me about it. But at the Golden Globes, when she had her hair dyed brown and it was in a high ponytail, she's back. She's ready. We've got Ariana Grande back from her Glinda days. Don't get me wrong, I loved the Glinda. I loved her being Glindified. But we're getting Ariana Grande back. I'm so excited for it. I just wish I was going to be in the room. I'm not going to be in the room. And another thing, I couldn't not talk about it. Heated Rivalry is out in the UK. Did I watch it before it was out in the UK? Legally, I can't say. But I mean, I was at the cottage over Christmas, so I guess that's the answer. I just think they're brilliant. I just think Hudson Williams, Connor Story, again, like, I love it. I love it when young people who are not from that world of Hollywood, who get a job like Heated Rivalry on pure talent and pure passion, they make it the best they can make it, because they're passionate about it, because they love it, because it's like an opportunity to be seen at this point just in Canada, right? And Jacob Tierney, who produced it and directed it, and Rachel Reed, who wrote the books and everything, the team that did it just loved it so much that the thing that we got, the TV show we got, was made with no budget. It was all shot, like, I've seen someone in Canada be like, yeah, so Russia is here, and he walked through like a tunnel, and like it's all filmed within like a really small location, and like, the way they did it, low budget, but they made it perfect. And I'm not even exaggerating. Perfect is the word, because I don't think there's a single moment that I would change or cut or add to Heated Rivalry. I know the Scott and Kip episode gets some heat. I love it. It's one of my favorite parts of the whole show, because also at the end, the payoff you get at the end with Scott and Kip, like, it relies on having a dedicated episode to them, and also seeing them as part of Ilya's and Shane's world as well. Like, when they're on the rink and they have like a couple of words with each other, like, it's important, it's significant. But I love it. And I think when these actors get shot up to such a level of fame that is kind of incomprehensible, even to them. Bear in mind, months ago, they were working in coffee shops, and they send shockwaves through the industry a little bit. Like they go to the Golden Globes and people are a little bit like, "Ooh, they're new and they're getting all the attention. They are getting all the attention." And I made a skit on TikTok and about like publicists saying to their celebrity clients, like, just get a selfie with Connor and Hudson. Like, whatever you do tonight, just get a picture with the Heated Rivalry boys. Because it is like that. And it reminds me of when One Direction first got famous. Everybody wanted to be with One Direction. And as soon as they had a photo with One Direction, no matter how famous these people were, you could have really famous people meeting like some of One Direction, and they would get questions like, how does Harry smell? What does Louis smell like? Is Zayn really nice? Are they kind? Are Zayn's eyes as sparkly as I imagined? Like literally, that's what it's like when anyone met One Direction. And that's what it's like with Hudson and Connor. Like these people are meeting them and everyone wants to know every detail. What do they smell like? What were they wearing? How tall are they? Are they nice? Were they kind? Did they say this to each other? Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's such a crazy thing to happen. And and they just need looking after a little bit. And I hope that they will get that. And I think they will, because like, as I say, Heated Rivalry, like it was such a special project, I suppose, in the way that everyone that talks about it talks about how intimate it was in terms of like, they all got to know each other. They were all friends. It was a team project, team building exercise. Do you know what I mean? Like making this show, like they've all just fallen in love with each other. And I love that. And it also reminds me a little bit of Heartstopper, where Kit Connor and Joe Locke came out of that show. And as soon as season 1 ended, as soon as they had their moment of like, this is one of the best shows Netflix has ever produced, they just exploded, especially Kit Connor, it seems. Like, I know they both have, but I don't know, I suppose Kit Connor just seemed to be on everyone's lips. Like, he like, in terms of like a famous celebrity name, he was just everywhere. And then Joe Locke obviously has had so much success since that as well. And I know Heartstopper is not over yet. We've still got a movie coming, but they've just catapulted from these. Joe Locke was in the Isle of Man, did an audition for Heartstopper, and it wasn't like an open audition, no agent, anything like that. That's it. He's gone from living in the Isle of Man to filming Heartstopper to being so famous that he's all over the world with Lily Allen on her birthday in some place that looked lovely. It's just wild. But yeah, with Heated Rivalry, I'm very excited for them. I think they deserve everything. They seem so lovely. Like sometimes you see celebrities and you're like, fake. That's fake. I see them and I'm like, this is also real. It's also legit. I don't even care if it's parasocial or what. It's legit. And obviously now Rachel Reed has announced a third book within their universe, like Shane and Ilya's relationship. It's the 7th book, isn't it, in the Game Changers series overall. So, and I do think you should read all of them. I do. The first book, Game Changer, is it Game Changers or Game Changer? I don't know. It's quite slow, but then like the pace picks up for all the rest. And I just love them. And I just love the dynamics and the relationships and everything like that. And I also actually, because I loved Heated Rivalry so much, I thought, let me try another hockey romance to see if it's a fluke. And there's a book called Him. I can't remember who wrote this. Hang on. There's a book called Him. And the sequel is Us. And it's kind of about, Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy wrote these books. And Him is different. It's different because they're not both NHL players. They're like childhood friends who something happened between them and then they didn't want to talk to each other anymore. And then they like meet up again and bump into each other. And then like, it's so nice. It's so funny and sweet and cute. And I just fell in love with the main characters. So if you're looking for something to like carry on after Heated Rivalry, Him, and then Us, I really strongly recommend. And I think that's pretty much it. I wanted to have an episode to welcome everyone back to the podcast, The Standing Room Only, in the middle of January. And it was going to be, I've done 2 episodes, one with Bill Wood, who is an author, and one with Andrews Grotto, who is a content creator. We talked about Disney adults, and it was so fun. Both episodes were really fun. So I was going to just start with those 2, but I could not let this week pass without talking about all of this exciting stuff we've got going on. And it's just, the world is shit at the moment. The world is it's not a nice place to perceive, is it? Like, what am I trying to say? I mean, there is so much going on politically on the globe, and whatever country you are in, you're looking around at your own country, you're looking at other countries, especially ones that have such a big voice, such a big influence and impact in the world and in the world's politics. And you look around and you can't help sometimes to just feel despair and just to feel hopeless and just to feel like no one is on the same team anymore. And humanity is suffering because of the selfishness of a few ultra rich, ultra powerful people. And I think pop culture, I think music, TV, books, films, I think it is important. I think it's an important thing to talk about and it's an important thing to engage with because it is escapism and also it is political. Books, music, TV, film, all of that are political. There are always politics within it. And I just feel like sometimes we all need to take a breather. And whether that is a breather in a quiet room in the dark on your own, whether that's stepping outside for a cigarette, whatever you want to do, whether that is listening to music just for half an hour of the day or sitting in bed with a book and a cup of tea, whatever that looks like to you, I think it's important to breathe and to remind yourself that some things are bigger than you. And while we can all work together, we can't all work together at the same time because then we'll be burnt out. We'll be what you want to be is you still want to be angry. You don't want to be, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. You don't want to get so fed up that you just kind of feel dissuaded and you kind of feel like, what's the point? Ambivalent, I suppose. You want to feel angry, but you also need the energy to direct that anger in the right places. So anyway, all that to say, I just will always talk about the fun pop stuff, the fun pop culture stuff, the fun stuff in media, but know that the weight of the world sits heavy. I think it sits heavy on everyone. And yeah, it's important to take these spaces, have these spaces like Standing Room Only, to just have a pause and have a break and celebrate the things that you're looking forward to, as well as commiserate the sad things that are happening everywhere else. But that's me for now. I will see you very, very soon with the episodes that I've mentioned. And obviously the rollout of these episodes depends now, because if Harry Styles suddenly does something, I'm going to have to do an episode dedicated to him again. But anyway, thank you for listening. Please feel free to subscribe, like, and all of that. But most importantly, please feel free to take a breather and take a moment for yourself today. I love you lots. I'll speak to you soon.